Hi, welcome back. Our previous lesson was on deadweight laws. Today we'll be moving on to absolute and comparative advantage. So, absolute advantage and comparative advantage are concepts in international trade theory that help explain why countries engage in trade and how they can benefit from specialization. But while absolute and comparative advantage are concepts typically applied to countries and international trade, they can also be understood at the individual level. So let's look at a simple case analyzing two roommates, Mary and Francis, and use this to understand the concept of comparative advantage and absolute advantage. So what we have here in this table is that we have two roommates that can either cook a meal or clean the house. Now Mary can cook a meal in 2 hours, but it will take Mary 4 hours to clean the entire house. And Francis can cook a meal in 1 hour, but it will take Francis 5 hours to clean the entire house. So the question here is that how should they assign these tasks? Now, the first thing about absolute and comparative advantage is that absolute advantage tells you who is best at the task. So an individual has absolute advantage when they can perform a particular task using fewer resources than another individual. In this example, the resource here is time. Mary can cook a meal in 2 hours, but Francis can cook a meal in only 1 hour. So Francis has absolute advantage in cooking a meal because it takes him less time to cook a meal as compared to Mary. So in this example, Francis has absolute advantage. And we say he has absolute advantage because it takes him less time to cook a meal as compared to Mary. Now, when it comes to cleaning, Mary can clean the entire house in 4 hours. But it will take Francis 5 hours to clean the house. So because it will take Francis more hours to clean the house than Mary, then Mary has absolute advantage in cleaning the house. So Mary has absolute advantage in cleaning, and Francis has absolute advantage in cooking. So when you're talking in terms of absolute advantage, we are simply looking at who is able to perform a given task using less time. And in this example, Francis can cook a meal in less time than Mary can, so Francis has absolute advantage in cooking. And Mary can clean the house using less time than Francis, so Mary has absolute advantage in cleaning. Now let's look at comparative advantage. Comparative advantage is all about opportunity cost. An individual has comparative advantage when they can perform a particular task at a lower opportunity cost than another individual. So Mary and Francis can spend their time either cooking or cleaning. So for each individual, the opportunity cost of cleaning the house is the number of meals he or she could have made. Likewise, the opportunity cost of cooking a meal is a portion of the house that he or she could have cleaned. So to explain further, Mary and Francis can either cook or clean. So when you're using your time to do one, you don't have the time to do the other. So the opportunity cost of cooking is the portion of the house that you could have cleaned, but you didn't because you spent your time cooking. And the opportunity cost of cleaning is the number of meals that you could have cooked, but you didn't because you spent your time cleaning. Now, if we are to calculate the opportunity cost of a task, we can use the formula represented here, which is the hours it takes to complete a task divided by the hours required to produce an alternative output, or in this case, the hours it takes to cook or clean divided by the hours it takes to do the alternative activity. So let's calculate the opportunity cost for Mary for cooking and cleaning. Then we can use that to decide who has comparative advantage between cooking and cleaning. Now we already know from our graph that Mary takes 2 hours to cook a meal and 4 hours to clean the house. Francis takes 1 hour to cook and 5 hours to clean the house. Now to calculate the opportunity cost, let's first calculate the opportunity cost for cooking a meal. So for Mary, the opportunity cost of cooking the meal is the 2 hours it takes Mary to cook the meal divided by the 4 hours it takes Mary to do the alternative activity, which is cleaning the house. So in this case, the opportunity cost of cooking a meal for Mary is half of the house that Mary could have cleaned that she didn't. So we can write that as cleaning half of the house. So every time Mary cooks a meal, she forgoes the option of cleaning half of the house. Now let's look at opportunity cost for cleaning the house for Mary. So in calculating the opportunity cost for cleaning the house for Mary, it is the 4 hours it takes Mary to clean the house divided by the 2 hours it takes Mary to do the alternative activity, which is cooking a meal in this case. So this gives us 2, which means the opportunity cost for cleaning the entire house for Mary is 2 meals that Mary could have cooked, but she didn't because she was cleaning the house. So for Mary, opportunity cost of cooking a meal is cleaning half of the house, and for opportunity cost for cleaning the house is 2 meals. So anytime Mary is cooking a meal, she's not cleaning half of the house, or she loses the opportunity to clean half of the house. And anytime Mary cleans the house, she loses the opportunity to cook 2 meals. Now let's consider this for Francis. For Francis, the opportunity cost of cooking a meal is the 1 hour it takes Francis to cook a meal divided by the 5 hours it takes Francis to clean the house. So this can be written as cleaning 1/5 of the house. So anytime Francis is cooking a meal, he loses the opportunity to clean 1/5 of the house. Now, for Francis, let's calculate the opportunity cost of cleaning the house. So opportunity cost for cleaning the house is the 5 hours he spent in cleaning the house divided by the 1 hour it takes Francis to do the alternative activity, which is cooking a meal. So this can be written as 5 meals. So anytime Francis is cleaning the house, he loses the opportunity to cook 5 meals. So now that we know the opportunity cost of cooking and cleaning for each one of them, let's look at who has comparative advantage. Now the opportunity cost of cooking is lower for Francis. So opportunity cost of cooking a meal is half for Mary and 1/5 for Francis. So it's lower for Francis because 1/5 is lower than 1/2. So Francis has comparative advantage in cooking because cooking a meal cost him less foregone cleaning than it cost Mary. Now the opportunity cost for cleaning the house is 2 meals for Mary and 5 meals for Francis. So anytime Mary is cleaning the house, she loses the opportunity to cook only 2 meals. But anytime Francis cleans the entire house, he loses the opportunity to cook 5 meals. So this cost is lower for Mary than for Francis. So Mary has comparative advantage in cleaning because cleaning costs her fewer foregone meals than if Francis were to do the job. So as per our calculation, Francis has comparative advantage in cooking and Mary has comparative advantage in cleaning. So if they want to decide who should perform which task, each individual should perform the task in which they have comparative advantage in. So Mary should clean the house and Francis should cook. So this is all for our lesson on comparative and absolute advantage. Our next lesson will be on the power of prices. If you enjoyed today's lesson, consider subscribing. Thank you.